Welcome to Eagle's Concepts Education Room. In this segment, we continue with 2016 Biology Paper 2 Theory. We ended on question 9, so we'll proceed and finish up, wrap up this paper with question 10. So please pay attention and make sure you apply the skills on how to correctly answer the questions of paper 2 nature in paragraph form, because these are essay type questions. All right, question reads: explain how flowering plants get rid of excess and unwanted substances from their bodies for marks. B. Discuss the importance of homeostasis in mammals. So, as usual, I'm going to first explain these two concepts in detail, such that you can even answer other types of questions that are in this a similar manner. So, I'll begin by explaining excretion. So, by definition, excretion is simply the removal of unwanted or toxic substances from the body of an organism. Now, excretion is very much understood in terms of animals, but it is also present in plants. So in this case, the leaf is the main excretory organ in a flowering plant. Okay, that was supposed to be plants, not plants. So it's the main excretory organ in flowering plants. Okay, so let's look at the leaf here. Okay, so now we are saying, what does the leaf excrete? So the leaf is able, so the plant is produces two excretory products. So number one, it produces carbon dioxide during respiration. Then it also produces oxygen during photosynthesis. So these are the two excretory products that are produced from the plant. So now, during the day, photosynthesis takes place. Remember, photosynthesis is simply the process by which the green plants, they use the sun's energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. So during the day, photosynthesis takes place and the leaf is going to produce oxygen. So oxygen is added to the atmosphere as a waste product. Okay, then these things, they're happening in the leaf. The leaf uses the stomatopods. So in the stomatopods, that is where these gases are able to diffuse into and out of the leaf. Okay, now carbon dioxide will be taken from the atmosphere, plus the water that is coming from the tree trunk all the way from the soil will combine, and the oxygen is taken out. But we also have excess water, okay? So excess water, which also can be excreted during transpiration, which is the evaporation of water from the surface of the leaf, okay? Then we also have some carbon dioxide, which is being produced during respiration. Remember, respiration is the oxidation of sugar. So we've got this thing here, the carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates will react with some of the oxygen that is being gotten from the atmosphere, and it combines to produce the energy and some of the carbon dioxide which is given out. So generally here, you can see that these two gases are just exchanging at a different level. Okay, so that is about how excretion takes place in a flowering plant. Okay, let's look at a more detailed view of the leaf. So this is the surface of the leaf here. As you can see, this is the zoomed stomata here. So the stomata here, it has got the guard cells. So the guard cells are the ones that control the opening and closing of the stomatopores. So when there's too much water into the plant here, now the water has to diffuse out of the plant by the process of osmosis. Remember, osmosis is the movement of water molecules from a region of high water potential to a region of lower water potential. So if there is too much water in the plant, excess water has to be released to the outside as an excretory product. So it will be excreted by osmosis, with the help of evaporation there, and to be called transpiration. So the gut cells, they control the opening and the closing. Okay, then at the same time here, the carbon dioxide, when it is low into the plant, then some of the carbon dioxide from the outside, which the animals breathe out and other actions produce, it will be taken into the plant by diffusion, the movement of molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. So the gut cells are very important. The stomata here, these are just the openings that are controlled by the gut cells. So the gut cells, they know when to open and when to close depending on these concentrations. Okay, so the stomata opens to allow carbon dioxide to enter the leaf and water vapor to leave the leaf. Okay, so that is how excretion is done. Let's look at how an answer can be given. So plants produce two gaseous wastes, that is oxygen during photosynthesis and carbon dioxide during respiration. So excretion of gaseous waste in plants takes place through the stomatopores on the leaves by diffusion. Excess of water is also excreted from the plant body through the stomatopores and from the surface of the fruits and stems. And this process of elimination of water is called transpiration. So this is how you can paraphrase your answer. Okay, the second part of the question was about homeostasis. So what is homeostasis? So homeostasis is the maintenance and the regulation of a constant internal environment in an organism. So cells and proteins like enzymes in the body of an animal functions at a specific physiological condition. Now we are talking about specific physiological conditions, and these conditions are water. So what happens here is that we need to have a specific potential of water. Now, when there is water is a universal solvent, and most of the chemical reactions in the body, they depend on water. So if there is little water in the body, those chemical reactions will be affected. Again, if there is too much water in the body, there will be a problem. Actually, this one can lead to a condition which is known as diabetes insipidus, having too much water in the body. So the body has devised a mechanism in which these can be maintained. And that mechanisms, they are what forms the homeostatic system of the body. So homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment. So one of the physiological conditions is actually water. Apart from that, we also have the concentration of glucose. So now, this concentration of glucose here, we know there is a normal glucose level that a human body is supposed to have. So if you have little glucose, you are going to have a problem with the issues of energy, because remember, the energy comes from the glucose. So the glucose will be oxidized and then energy has to be produced. So if you don't have enough glucose, then you have issues of energy. Now, if you have too much glucose, you are going to have diabetes mellitus. So you are going to have what is known as diabetes mellitus. So this is a disease commonly known as sugar disease. So now the body has devised a mechanism using homeostasis where if there's too much glucose, then the excess glucose is converted to glycogen. The excess glucose will be converted to glycogen, which is the storage form of what? Of glucose. So in an event where the glucose has become low, actually now this glucose will be converted to glycogen by insulin. Okay, so there is a hormone insulin, and when the glucose levels are low, then the glycogen will be converted back to glucose using using a hormone known as glucagon. So there is an enzyme known as glucagon. So this is how the concentration of glucose is maintained still in the body. The other physiological condition is temperature. Now, most of the body cells and enzymes, they are made up of protein. So protein, they work at a specific temperature and known as the optimum temperature. So when the temperature is low, the enzyme activity will also be slow and disturbed. But when the temperature is too high, then the protein becomes denatured. In other words, it becomes destroyed, so it cannot work. So now we need homeostasis to maintain this constant temperature. So there is the hypothalamus, or the heat center in the brain, which plays along with other things such as the skin in just making sure that the temperature of the skin is maintained at a certain level. So there are certain things that associate, for example, when the temperature of your body is too high, then the body will automatically begins to do things like sweating, uh, just in order to get rid of some excess heat. Then when it's too cold, there are certain things that are going to happen, like shivering, just to make sure that the temperature goes up. Then there is also, when it's too cold, there is what is known as vasoconstriction that is going to happen. So vasoconstriction is the narrowing of the blood vessels so that less blood can flow to the surface of the skin. And once less blood is flowing to the surface of the skin, then all the heat that is being produced from within the body due to metabolic reactions is being maintained from within the body. Okay, so the opposite happens when the temperature is too high. There is going to happen what is called vasodilation. So this is the increase in the diameter or size of the blood vessels, and this causes the blood to flow closer to the surface of the skin, so that whatever heat is being produced from within the metabolic reactions of the body can easily escape through the surface of the skin. And also the erectile muscles are going to erect so that more heat can be lost. So those are some of the things that take place. Okay, another physiological condition is the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now, these two, they have to be maintained, and they have to be maintained via the process of diffusion. So if there is too much carbon dioxide in the body will become acidic. If there is less oxygen, a person cannot survive, and also energy will not be properly produced. So these things have to be maintained. Okay, so now just to answer the question, explain the importance of homeostasis. Now, homeostasis helps to maintain a constant level of water, a constant level of glucose, a constant level of temperature, and a constant level of the gases, oxygen, and the carbon dioxide. So it is very important. Okay, so the control systems that keep such conditions constant are examples of homeostasis. Okay, let's see now how properly we can phrase our answer. Homeostasis is very important because it helps. So homeostasis is very important because it helps the body to maintain a constant internal environment by controlling the physiological factors as discussed below. So homeostasis, like I said, is very important because it helps the body to maintain a constant internal environment by controlling the levels of water, by controlling the levels of temperature, by controlling the levels of glucose, the levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the body, as well as other conditions. So how are these things done? That is what is being explained here. So concentration of glucose, this one is the fuel for respiration. So lack of it causes respiration to slow or stop, depriving the cell, depriving the cell of an energy source. However, too much of it may cause water to move out of the cell by osmosis, again disturbing the metabolism of the cell. So if the glucose level is high, the pancreas produces insulin to convert excess glucose to glycogen. And if glucose level is low, the insulin produces glucagon, which converts the glycogen back to glucose. Temperature is another physiological condition that is kept constant by homeostasis. So this is how you can phrase your answer as well. Okay, you can see that on the screen. It's just a sample on how proper you can phrase your answer. Okay, so we also have the water potential. So if the water potential decreases, water may move out of the cell by osmosis, causing metabolism reactions in the cell to stop. On the other hand, if the water potential increases, water may enter the cell, causing it to swell and be burst. Therefore, a certain constant level of water has to be maintained via osmoregulation. Regulation of carbon dioxide and oxygen. The body cells needs a constant supply of oxygen for metabolic processes that are necessary to maintain life. So the respiratory system works with the circulatory system to provide this oxygen and to remove the waste product of metabolism, which is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide can also damage the tissue and the organ further, impairing oxygenation of blood, and as a result, slow oxygen delivery to the tissues. Okay, so we have come to the end of this presentation. Thank you so much. Keep watching the videos. Remember to subscribe and just share the link with your friends. This will help you in your exams. Make sure you remember paper 2 theory, section B. It's answering in paragraph form because they are essay type questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.